Hello, everyone. Hey, sister, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I think we're gonna have a really good podcast tonight. It's nothing that we're not used to, but we're doing a little bit different this time. On a panel with two of our new friends on David Wells, that has a team that we will let him talk about, and also Jason Hassler,
Nice.
who has a team and also a radio host too. So let's bring them on.
Absolutely.
Hello, guys.
Hi, Jason. Hi, David. How are you two tonight?
Good evening. Very, very good. How are you?
Good.
Doing fine. Okay, so David, let's start with you first. Can you just give us a little introduction about yourself, your team, please?
Was that for me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
It was repeating itself. I just didn't understand what you were saying. Yeah, so I've been interested in paranormal probably 15 years or so. I've had several experiences. I've worked security. I still work security, but when I worked in hospitals and rehab places and psychiatric patients, I saw a lot more.
Okay, we still have some issues with sound with you. Go into the private chat and just call the number and see how we can work that out, okay? Because it's very, very soft, okay?
It's faint. Yeah.
Yes. In the meantime, Jason, how about you? Tell us your team and what you're doing.
All right. Well, my team is Big River Paranormal. We started in Boise, Idaho, but now we have a team in Portland for about the last, I'd say, 10, 12 years, something like that. And so, yeah, I've got, let's see, I want to say probably 10 people on my team right now. And we are the Oregon TAPS family team. So I don't know if you guys have heard of TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Study with goes during the show. So if there's a call, if the show gets a call for Oregon, I'm the guy they send it to. And so, yeah, that's one way we get cases. But, yeah. So we just travel around Oregon and Washington and just investigate places with reported paranormal activity and try to help people that are, having issues.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And Jason will be coming back on the podcast to talk about his team, hopefully soon. Thinking November, maybe. And David will also be on in the future, too, to talk about himself and his team and everything, too, as well. But right now, it's about asking questions about the panel that they are going to be on tonight. So, Medium Red, I will let you go ahead and start.
Great. Well, I was curious with David, actually, with you say you have a medical parapsychologist. I was very intrigued about that on your team, you said, and I guess he's from Greece as well. So I wanted to know, I know what a parapsychologist is. I'm just curious what the additional medical part of it does to help you out on the team, if you could explain. Uh-oh, sorry. The audio is doubled up, he said.
I have.
Why don't you step out and come back in?
Try that, yeah.
Yeah, and we tried that. So David will be right back where we get that fixed.
I'll
So
talk to Jason then instead. Hey, Jason, do you have a psychic medium on your team, or do you confer with any psychic mediums when you have any cases that come up your way?
We don't. I mean, we have people that are sensitive, that kind of thing, but we don't have any like active working psychic mediums. But we do have people that, if somebody requests, or we do feel like a psychic would be a necessary thing for the client, then we have people we can call that we trust, that have, that we know actually have abilities. I mean, everybody's a psychic these days, they say, but like, so you have to really, when you're helping people, you have to really make sure it's somebody that knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to make it worse.
Right. Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of fakes out there. That's the unfortunate part. Everybody wants to be one, but they don't realize that what's entailed in it. So
yeah, I think that goes with everything.
What's that, Chrissy?
Like most psychics do like 20 years of like work on themselves before they come out and be like, hey, here I am.
Yeah.
True.
They don't just take a class and be like, oh, I'm a psychic now because I had a class.
Yeah, exactly. I know. No, you'd have to be born with the gift to be really, I think, truly a psychic medium.
Yeah, I agree too. I very much agree on that. And it's just like somebody said, well, I'm a witch and stuff. And it's like, well, how many years been practicing?
Right.
You just don't say I'm one overnight. That's like me saying, hey, I'm the president now.
Well, anybody can do that job these days, but
Right. Now, David, we welcome you back. Let's see if we can get your sound.
Hopefully everything's good.
That's a lot better, actually.
Yeah, that's actually better. Yeah.
That is actually better. So Medium Red has the question for you. We just go and continue on like nothing happened.
That's right. So my question to you was that you have a medical parapsychologist on your team. I'm curious. I mean, I know what a parapsychologist is. I'm just curious what the medical part of it does in this industry. David.
Yeah. Catherine Dion Cerritos. I'm sorry. She's from Greece. She does all of her work with me remotely.
And what is a medical parapsychologist? Could you explain that to us and also our
audience?
Audience. Yeah, thank you.
Everything is asking twice. I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm hearing everything twice, and it's hard to.
Do any of you guys have your TV on, your radio on? That you're watching the show on? No? Okay. Because usually sometimes you have the YouTube on, like on Facebook or your computer or the TV, it will have an echo back. So,
yeah.
But you don't have it
on. Interesting.
Okay. Well, let's just keep going through.
We'll keep proceeding. That's better.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
So yeah, Catherine Cerritos, I don't know exactly what the technical term is for a medical parapsychologist. She does a lot more channeling and medium work than she does anything else.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That is very interesting. So I guess I'm up next, huh?
You're up next, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is actually for the both of you guys, Jason and David. So what is the most profound personal change that you have seen in someone after a paranormal experience?
That's a good question. Mostly for me, I've seen people that maybe didn't have a belief, system, like an afterlife belief system, like maybe they didn't believe that, in religion or any sort of afterlife, and then they have an experience where they may not be able to understand what they happened, but they know for sure that it was an experience they had with maybe a spirit that the person that had crossed over, and they now they have to take that into consideration when they think about maybe their own personal beliefs and that kind of thing. So yeah, people can get pretty, especially when it doesn't align with their religious beliefs. So, like if you believe that everyone is, in heaven when they die or hell, and then you're having your house haunted, that doesn't really, they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? So it really kind of affects people's religious beliefs sometimes.
I could see that for sure.
Oh yeah, me too. I can really see that. I'm still here. My picture just kind of went away. There we go. And David, same question to you, and I will repeat this. What is the most profound personal change you have seen in someone after a paranormal experience?
Probably several of them. Probably a little bit like you said, with belief system has been changed. A lot of skeptics have been shown some things that they didn't think they were going to see. It's good to have that debunking spirit, that debunking mentality. I try to do that as much as possible. Some things just present themselves and you're like, wow, here it is. So I think I've seen people profoundly changed by witnessing actual things.
Awesome. Okay. The second question I have, um, what are the biggest misconception that people has about the paranormal investigations? And Jason, back to you.
Biggest misconception about paranormal investigations is that everything is a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things are not evil. It's like sometimes you'll run into a spirit that has a bad attitude, but for the most part, you're not going to run into anything that's terrible, demonic, whatever, that kind of stuff. It's not what you see on TV. It's mostly just a bunch of people sitting in a room and claiming their body functions, so it doesn't sound like something on the audio recorder. Like it's really actually kind of boring.
It's not a glamorous job.
It's not. We have a lot of people that join thinking it's going to be like a Ghost Adventures type situation, and it's just not. It's really boring and tedious, and then like until something happens, and then once something happens, then they get excited. But what's that, like 1 out of every 10 investigations you might have a experience some
Exactly. Yeah. And I know that we always get that in the paranormal world. It's like, oh, instantly their mind goes to demonic, I mean, it's unfortunately there's shows out there that skew to that side for the audience members. And so consequently everything is considered to be demonic. So I agree with that too. Well, I run into that as well.
Yeah.
If they showed what we did online or on TV, what we actually do, nobody would watch. So
it's boring. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And David, same question. I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to step out and restart because now I'm frozen. So, I don't know. It's not a full moon tonight, but something's going on with the stars.
I
know. So David, what is the biggest misconception that people has about the paranormal investigations?
I'm going to go on the side of devices. There are a lot of devices that we use out there. And some people don't have a clue of what they mean or what they do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, "Oh, cat ball, that's nothing. Cat ball can move, swing below it," and they just count them right away. But I was doing a baseline investigation the other day, and I set one down, and it rolled down the hall and back up the hall. So I'm like, "That's not normal at all."
Yeah.
So, and
yeah, definitely.
These devices, I think, like people don't take time to learn what they are, what they do, and what you're really getting out of that device, and how much of it is not something you want to log, something you just want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've run into that too, where like an electrician's meter, a field meter. We've had cases where there's been no haunting whatsoever, but the EMF is going off like crazy because the house is not grounded with from electricity. So it's very wise to learn what these different pieces of equipment do, so that you are able to use them.
And I think to expect that you get something every single time, like you said, sometimes you can go 2 nights in a row and sit there and not hear or see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Third night, for some reason, everything's ramped up. You get no kind of it.
Right. Yeah. To like Jason's point, it's like how many hours do you have to film, before you get something? That's the one thing with the TV shows that they're not, that the general public doesn't get to see is like that you have to do 50 hours of filming in order to get, an hour's worth of information. So it does make sense. Chrissy, did you have another question? You're muted too.
Oh, I can hear it.
Well, what would I do without you?
We're helping everybody out today.
I know. Okay. Yes. How do you differentiate between a true paranormal event and something with a natural explanation? Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Jason. I'll yield to you.
I use a lot of common sense, really. First of all, it's almost always going to have a logical explanation. I mean, almost always.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes you're going to be able to figure out what that is, and sometimes you're not. And then other times you're going to go, I think we really have something here. But like, it's difficult to, especially like everybody has a different opinion, of course. And, you might have 10 different people, looking at the evidence going, I think it's this, I think it's that. And that's the best way to do it, is have multiple eyes. And you may not agree, but like, we have this thing, if in doubt, throw it out. But you should always be in doubt with any piece of evidence, really, to be honest. I mean, even if it's, you saw it with your own eyes, you should still be thinking about what did I actually see?
Analyze it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yes. How about you, David?
I got an example. I did hear, I was doing an investigation, and I heard a little girl's voice, just like that. And I thought for sure it would be on the camera. I only heard it with my naked ears. So, and then I got some other stuff in the same location that I didn't hear, but it wasn't important. So you just never know. I mean, keep an open mind. But I try to think of everything else it could be. I can't figure it out, you're good.
Yeah, open mind, analyze, try to debunk. Exactly. Yes, I agree.
Yes, I do too. Okay, I think I'm back to you, Medium Red.
Alrighty. This is again for both of you. Have you ever left an investigation convinced that the place was not haunted? Let's start with David this time.
Yes, absolutely.
What were the circumstances? Was it a residential investigation, or was it one of the hospitals that you were talking about, or?
It was a residential person that didn't have some mental issues, hearing and seeing things that weren't there. And I'm a sensitive, so I usually know whenever I walk into a site, I know there's been things. And I just felt nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I went through 5 weeks after I built alongside dead silent. I would like somebody else to say, oh yeah, somebody saying your name or whatever. But there was nothing there.
There was nothing there. Jason.
Well, usually if we walk in and the family's sitting around and they're watching Ghost Adventures, that's probably what you're there for. Is they watch too much paranormal TV. That's usually a dead giveaway. But yeah, a lot of times, our goal is to go in and find logical explanations and help the client feel safer in their own environment. And even if we do come up with something that we believe is paranormal, we want to help them, figure out how to live with their spirits, because honestly, they're not going away. So,
Right. It's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's not really kind to ask them to go away either, in my opinion. I mean, you got a lot of people, like that person's been there for, 100 years, and you move in and you're like, oh, you got to go, I don't really subscribe to the whole, cleansing and that kind of stuff. I mean, you could talk to them and say, hey, you're scaring the crap out of me. Could you not? But, but you just never really know. But yeah, I mean, normally we find logical explanations. We had one lady, she was reporting seeing people in her room. She was reporting her ceiling was bleeding even. And our first thought was she must have some serious, she must be really sensitive to EMF and have some serious EMF going on in her bedroom. And that's exactly what she had going on. So she had this really old alarm clock. It was right next to her head. It was just pegging our meter. And then on the other side of her wall was her garage. And they had this water softener that was just pumping out EMF. And that was just going into her head all night long. And when that happens to you, and if you're really sensitive to it, it'll make you sick and hallucinate and all sorts of crazy stuff. So hopefully she took our advice and moved her bed to the other side of the wall and got a newer alarm clock. And that didn't happen to her anymore. But we didn't hear back from her after that. Her husband knew exactly what was going on, but she wouldn't believe him. So he had to have that. Yeah.
No, that happens a lot. I know when somebody says something's going on, people are very skeptic. They're like, no, it's all in your head. Nothing's going on. It's okay. No, I have 4 kids, and they always came to us when they have seen something or felt something, and we always believe them. Even if it was 3 o'clock in the morning, we drag ourselves out of bed and check it out.
That's good parenting. That's awesome. Encouraging them. I love that.
It's like, you want to be there for your child, but then you like, okay, now, are they seeing something? Was it a show they saw or a video on YouTube or something? But, yeah, like you said, it's good parenting. You just have to go and check it out just to make sure.
Exactly. That's interesting too, Jason, because I had a case like that exactly, very similar to that. And it was, in fact, when you put the EMF reader up to me, obviously it doesn't record anything because it shouldn't. And then we put the EMF reader up to it was a situation, it was a woman as well, having the same situation. And we put the EMF reader up to her and it was spiked at 60. And we looked at each other like, that's not normal. And the husband was even higher. I think he was 85 or 90. Even the dog had, EMF coming out of him. And it was the same thing where she had, I think we found out that the house wasn't really grounded well. And so it was coming from all over the place in her. And she had the same thing. She had 2 lights on the nightstands that were literally right up against her head. And so she was doing the same thing, talking about an entity coming in and touching her inappropriately. And so I was asked to come in to channel to see if there was something there. And I'm like, to the point of the question, hence the reason why I asked it, was I did not pick up on anybody there. It was clearly not paranormal whatsoever. It was clearly, electrical. So that's interesting to hear that you had a similar case. Thank you for explaining that.
Imagine that's pretty common, actually.
Yeah, I mean, for as many years as I've been doing this, that's the first time I've ever ran into that. So it was interesting to learn about that. So, and to find out now that there's somebody else that went through it as well. So it's common. That's great news.
Yes. Back to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there a point at which a person should no longer try to communicate with a specific entity? And David, you want to answer that one too?
When they're uncomfortable, trying to communicate with an entity is the time you stop.
I agree.
If, God forbid, you get any kind of physical touches,
Yeah.
something like that, then cut off communication if they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. How about you, Jason?
I find it very similar to speaking to somebody that's physically in front of you. Once that you don't feel comfortable with that communication, or you feel like they're not feeling comfortable with the communication, it needs to stop. Because ghosts were people too once.
Yeah, no, that's true. Have either one of you encountered an entity like that perhaps got a little bit more physical with you guys?
Go ahead, Jason.
I've never had anything get physical now.
David, you have?
One time, yes. I went on an investigation, and the back of my left leg had 3 scratches on it when I got home.
Wow.
Didn't feel it when it happened, and they were deep. I didn't brush up against anything. There was no tear in my clothing or nothing. But my leg and 3 were supposed to represent the Trinity. So
Yeah.
But, yeah, 3 pretty deep scratches on the back of my left leg, and I didn't feel it, which is really odd. I didn't feel it when it happened.
That's scary.
Wow. Yeah. Ditto for that. That is scary.
That's when you go, okay, I'm not talking to you anymore.
Yes. Very much so.
Or it was at the rehab hospital that I worked at.
It was in a rehab facility?
Yeah, there was a couple of instances on both sides of the spectrum. One night, one of my colleagues and I were standing there talking, and we were looking at the door to the administrator's office, and he said, "Are you seeing that?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The door. Look at the door." Well, the door was morphing into a fish.
Wow.
The size of the door.
Wow.
It was like, okay. And then as soon as we acknowledged it, it went away. It went back to its regular pattern.
That's incredible.
Yeah. At that point, there was one of the patients who was sleeping, and she had a rough day, wanted to quit the program and leave, and she was sleeping, and on camera, about 2 dozen orbs just like landed around her and stayed there the whole night. I had the footage of this orb staying there, almost like comforting her.
Oh, wow.
Partial discount orbs, but I think some of them are legit. I don't think all of them are legit. Obviously, dust and bugs, but these were fairly large, and they were all.
Well, when we have you on next, individually, that would be really cool to get that to Chrissy to upload so that we could see that. That would be incredible.
Yeah. I'm getting better at doing that.
We'll have Nico maybe help out too.
Drag him on. Nico's my cousin. As you guys know, we are a family podcast, and we invited Meeting Red to be the auntie and my sister. So, so she's part of our family now. So yeah, we kind of take turns. Try to. The kid's always busy, so it's just us two mostly, but we do try to take turns. So, I think it's back to you and your questions, hon.
Sure. So here's a good question. If ghosts are real, what does that imply about the nature of consciousness and the afterlife? Jason, start with you.
It's a good question. There's really only one way to find out, and I'm not ready to die yet. So, so there's that. As far, what was that?
Now that you've seen the movie Flatliners, you can come back pretty easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Once I'm gone, I might want to stay. Because I mean, like being dead could be the awesomest thing in the world, or it could be the worst. We don't know.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I've run into some grumpy ghosts where things have not been like their will has not been executed correctly. So I guess if something isn't good in this life, when you die, you could be a very grumpy individual on the other side. So true. David, that was a good one. How about you?
I have to give you another example. I have a house in Tennessee, and every night a clockwork Civil War soldier walks between the houses, walking his post, so to speak. And you can see right through it. He's bluish gray. I don't know what side he's on, but
Wow.
every night, just like clockwork, he walks right past the house and down the bank and disappears because the Shiloh National Forest is where the place is, and it's right on the edge of the battlefield. But I'm pretty sure that he probably got shot, didn't realize he was dead, just let him kept walking.
Didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I've run into that too. That's interesting.
What I'm concerned about, or what puzzles me, is how come some recurring haunts you can interact with and some you can't.
Can you repeat that, David? I'm sorry.
What concerns, or what I'm curious about, is why you can interact with some recurring haunts and some of them you can't. They're just all about their business.
Me personally, I feel like you have like two. How do I explain this in the best way? For me, I feel like you have the residual energies that are sometimes attached to buildings or attached to items or people. And I also feel like then there's also the entities that come back for unfinished business, or that you can communicate with them. So I always feel like residual energy, it's just the energy continually repeating the same thing over and over again. And it's not intelligent, for
Right.
a lack of another terminology. Whereas obviously a spirit that is coming back is somebody that's intelligent, and you can communicate and go through communication with them. That's just what I feel and what I've encountered in the years I've been a medium.
I just wondered if, because of this instance, he was so in life, he was so in tune to making sure he did his job the way he needed to do it. And now in death, he's like, I'm not going to let nothing, stop me. I'm not going to stop and talk to anybody. I'm just going to keep walking my post. And
Got my job to do.
Yeah.
We've run into those too. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Or unfinished business, where I had a lady of the night who was murdered, and she relives her death every single night at the same time because she doesn't feel that she has vindication. Her husband was never caught for the murder. So same situation, and she doesn't really communicate much to many people. She's got a task. She's got to relive this death, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I can understand that. And just imagine what she's going through in the afterlife, it's horrifying. So
kind of like what Jason was saying, you die, it could be good or it could be bad.
That's true.
I've heard that if you're left behind, or for some reason you're stuck, that it's almost torturous. That
right.
Spirit wants to move on, but for some reason it's stuck.
They're stuck. Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
Right, I'd like to solve that possibility.
Well, and then like Jason said, it's like there's sometimes, you have to live harmoniously with them sometimes, because it's no different than me trying to tell you, okay, Jason, drink this glass of water. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So it's no way of being able to say, okay, you got to go away, So it's true. You have to live harmoniously with them.
Oh, is that what that light is over there? I just thought it was something else. I'm supposed
to yeah.
Was
that the fast food joint?
Give me a now, for this is to both of you guys. If ghosts are real, what does that imply about the nature and consciousness of the afterlife?
Oh, we just asked that. Sorry. I jumped in and took your question from you. Sorry.
I always felt familiar when I was just saying that. Okay. But let me apologize to the audience. Usually we are on our game, so um,
One of
I
those days.
missed. My husband said it's a comets going through the sky that's causing everything, all the electronics to go crazy. So maybe that's true. I don't know, but thank you for sticking with us. Though
Yeah, thank you guys.
it's
Of course.
it's the raw realness that we try to go through. So nobody's perfect, and that's what we're trying to prove. So
That's why we do it in the raw version that we do it in.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question I have is, what do you see as an ultimate purpose of paranormal investigations?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Yeah, you can go first. Yeah.
All right. For me, the ultimate purpose is to help people that are experiencing, what they believe to be paranormal issues, or whether it be they feel like they're being possessed, haunted, or whatever it is they got going on, or just scared. The ultimate goal is to educate those people and help them feel better in their space.
Very good. How about you, David?
I agree. I think if they have a debunking attitude and they're with somebody who's going through that stuff, sometimes they just need somebody standing there and go, oh, that's your water heater, or that's your bird upstairs in the cage. And after that, they're like, yeah, I can explain away most of this, so I think that my house isn't haunted. But if you could do that, if you could present somebody either way, whether they got bad haunting or no haunting, I think that's a really good point. Like I said before, I've had some discussions with people that were bad, and I like to believe that they crossed over, so that is something that I really like to focus on. Try to get those closest souls where they need to be.
Very good. Back to you, Medium Red.
Let's see here. What could happen if the public if paranormal investigation techniques were misapplied? I know that's unambiguous, but if they're in there using techniques that are misapplied, what do you think could happen?
You mean like if somebody was investigating and didn't know what they were doing? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
They're going to scare themselves probably, and then like it just kind of depends on what they're working with and where they're at. But like a lot of times they won't respect the space and the spirits properly, and if you don't know what you're working with, like equipment wise, you're going to think your detector's going off when really it's your cell phone in your pocket that you didn't put on airplane mode and all that kind of stuff. So
That's true. Very true. How about you, David?
Somebody said the other day that being mean to spirits doesn't make them react. I really don't believe that. I think we do. Another example of people that Ohio State Formatory Innovation started with the Necronomicon. There was about 10 of us there. Said, okay, we're going to come up with a password. Somebody picked the password. They picked the password. Don't make it paranormal or scary or weird. Just make it a regular word. So this young girl picked the word cupcake. So we were passing it around. All of us were asking a question, and basically the format was, I like apples, what's your favorite fruit? And every one of us in the group got a response. And some people will be like, oh, I heard somebody say blue. They're talking about my shirt. No, they're not. It's just because you heard the word blue come up. But when we asked halfway through, do you remember the password that we set for this before we started? And there was a lot of garbled voices.
Uh-oh, we lost him now.
Yeah, I think we lost you all together now.
Yeah. Are you there, David?
It's just it's been really active.
My husband, it's just the sun. It's been really active lately.
Yeah, I was going to say. Now we lost David completely. Oh, no.
It's showing that I'm in the room.
Oh, there you are.
There you go.
You're back.
Where did you lose me at?
probably like 3 sentences before.
Yeah.
Okay, long story short, we asked the device if they remembered the password, and a lot of people came through talking, and then the last person said cupcake. So
And it said it.
it did, said it clearly.
Wow.
So, and then, it said something like the word blue or whatever, and somebody's like, oh, I just said that because I'm wearing a blue shirt.
No. Yeah.
It's the way to do that type of investigation. You leave it up to them, prove that they're good.
I think it's back to you, Chrissy.
Yes. So we ask you about the views of others, about the experience that they go through. Now, how about the experience that you go through at a paranormal investigation? How does it change your views on anything, or does it?
Go ahead.
I've had experiences. I've been touched, and that sort of thing. It doesn't really affect me, other than I was glad that I had the experience. The law just a lot of people don't. I was in the shower that I worked on. I got poked 3 times, but nobody else did. Why it was me, I don't know. I'm kind of happy when something like that happens.
And Jason, how about you?
I don't know that it has changed me really. I mean, I've been having experiences since I was a child, so it just kind of, became part of who I am, having paranormal experiences, throughout my life, and which is why I do this now, to try to find answers to the questions I have. But now I think I have more questions than I had before. So I think the more you do this, the more questions you find. So
it's true. It's really true. And then you can go down the rabbit hole for a long time.
That's when you think you know something, you don't.
Right, exactly.
So that brings up another question to you, Jason, is that he says it brings up more questions for you. So can you explain maybe what type of questions maybe that you might be thinking about when you go on these investigations?
Yeah, really, it's just, we go into an investigation, obviously trying to find logical explanations for things. And in each investigation, we learn more about how to do that. And then also, when you are communicating with, and you have, spirit communication, try to learn why they chose to communicate, what, or why they did not this time. And I've learned little things from, one of the best ways to do this and learn is by working with other people that, have been doing it longer than you, that kind of stuff. And a friend of mine, William, he took me to this place called the Ermitinger House in Oregon City, Oregon. And it's a very historic house, and they believe it to be haunted. And I went in there, and he, he gave me the tour. Then we went and had some coffee, and he said, "Hey, let me ask you a question. Like, what was your take on the house?" And, I told him I didn't really feel much, but, like, I didn't bring any equipment or anything. It was just kind of a tour. And he said, well, you do realize that when you walked into that house, you have to think about who the spirits in that house are. So they're from 1890s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you just walked in their home with your baseball cap on.
Mm-hmm.
So now that was something that would offend those people back then. So why would they communicate with you?
Right.
And just, you got to learn things like that, like little tips like that. Who are the spirits you're trying to communicate with? What makes them most comfortable about, to communicate with you? And you're always learning new things like that, and, what kind of things they'll react to. And, like we were talking before about being mean or provoking spirits. Does it get a reaction? Absolutely, it does. It's not necessarily a reaction that you want, and
Right.
it's not a respectful reaction. You're not being. You need to be respectful of the spirits if you're going to be doing this, and a lot of people are not, and that gives people that do take this seriously a really bad look, and it gives us all a bad name when you see that on TV.
Yeah, that's very true. I agree.
And speaking on TV, this will be my last question to you both. I'm not going to ask you what your favorite shows or anything. I'm not going to put you on the spot or anything. But I would like to know is what do you think of the shows that they have nowadays? I know some is like Hollywood and some is real. Um, but on your perspective, what do you think about these shows that's coming on? For like,
Well,
all the paranormal shows, I should say.
there's really been a fallback on those. I don't think they're as popular as they used to be because at first, I mean, there was, a show on, every channel, every hour for a while, whether it be Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters or whatever. Everybody had a show for a while. And then, of course, we all know paranormal drama happens with like Paranormal State and that kind of stuff. And so I think it's less popular, but some of the shows are really good and informative and educational, and some of the shows are for entertainment purposes only. And it's best when you know which one is which.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. And I think that you can tell. I mean,
I would hope so, but
yeah, yeah. I think people can tell. I mean, I know my mom is just like, "Is that real? Is that real?" And I'm sitting back. I hate to say no, that's not something, because she likes to enjoy the shows. But yeah, some people are just wanting to believe, I guess. How about you, David? What would you say?
Well, you got to have an investigation and a possession and an exorcism before you can get a television show that's going to be popular. But that's why we're here. That's why we're doing podcasts, man. And everybody loves the podcast. They know that we have been through it all, and we can share it with them. And I think they're getting a lot more information and entertainment from what we're doing.
Yeah.
TV. It's great.
Well, and it's true. They, to your point, to both of your points, it's, like Cindy Kay's was part of Holzer Files and Dead Files, and I'm friends with her and also taking her advanced mediumship class. She even said, understand that the Dead Files eschews to the darker side. She goes, that is not the norm of what mediums do. This is definitely, they find cases that are definitively to the darker side, demonic or etc., so that they can keep the viewership going because that's what the viewership wants to see. So in that case, it's real, but it's also entertainment at that point too.
Yeah, very much. Well, do you have any more questions, Medium Red?
I think I'm good. I think we got all of the questions answered. So yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been great to have you both. Even though we had some difficulties, we just sweated through them. So it's okay. It's all good. But we are both looking forward to having you both come on again. Jason, I think we're going to be scheduling you. I think we just talked about it before the show in next month. And then David, we would talk when you want to come on. We love doing these shows, and we love educating everybody because, a lot of people is really, really interested in the paranormal, but just doesn't want to ask the questions of what goes around. So, but I want to thank you both. And if you want to stick around for a couple of minutes while we end the show, and Medium Red, a pleasure, always, son.
Always, yes, for you too.
So everybody like, share, and subscribe. And I can guarantee you that there'll be a lot more shows coming on soon. So blessings, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you again.